Oops.
Good afternoon, everyone. As usual, I'd like to remind all the commissioners to unmute yourself and state your name when you're speaking. Also, I wanted to mention that for voting on any measure or action today, commissioners will be using the voting touchscreen. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the October 18th, 2022 Senior Citizen Commission meeting at 2:01 p.m. Can we do a roll call?
Let the record show that all commissioners are present except for Commissioner Green.
Thank you. Commissioner Angel, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're on agenda item 4, special presentations and proclamations. Today we have a guest presenter.
And
Robert.
excuse me, Chair Lambert, I'm so sorry. There was a change to who our speaker was going to be.
Yes.
And that speaker is now paramedic Robert Ivory.
I'm aware. Thank you.
Oh.
So he's here to tell us what a post form is and why it's important for seniors to have one completed and visible in the event of a medical emergency. Robert, thank you for coming.
Hello? Can you hear me? I apologize for my gravelly voice. It just happens when the weather changes. My name is Robert Ivory. I'm a paramedic at American Medical Response San Diego. I've been a paramedic there for 32 years. I retired off an ambulance last year, and I've been working in the CES department, the Clinical Education Services Department. Today, I'd like to speak to you about a POST. Not a POST, but a POLST. It stands for Physician's Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment. It is what technically changed the DNR, the Do Not Resuscitate order that we've had out there forever. So the big difference between a POST and a Do Not Resuscitate order is a POST allows the physician to work with the patient in order for the patient to have a certain level of care that the patient has chosen. It's accepted by pretty much nationwide. Almost every state has them. Whereas with the Do Not Resuscitate orders, a lot of times somebody would bring up a Do Not Resuscitate order on a pre-hospital call, and we'd have no idea what this thing was. They were very regimented. It had to have every single thing done. They were only good for a certain length of time, and that's all changed with the POST. Okay, a POST was created in Oregon in the early 90s. They saw a need for, as humans, we have a right to have some say-so in how we live our lives and how our lives end. Oregon's been using them since 1993. California signed them into Bill AB 3000. And AB 3000, if you go to the next page, that's just a little bit of the data on that. That really doesn't affect us very much. But Pulsed is known by other names, MOST, medical, ordered sustained treatment. Just all these different names are the same thing. Each state, they have slightly different variances, so we'll kind of focus on the ones that we use here in California. This shows the states that do use them. You'll see that there are 2 states that don't, and from what I understand, that's been changed. They now do use them in all the states, some form of a pulsed. So who would benefit from having a pulse? Not everybody needs one. Not everybody had a do not resuscitate order. This is for patients, people with a chronic progressive illness, something that a patient is suffering from, something that is going to get worse, they're not going to get better, serious health conditions, patients that are medically frail. I have both my mother and my mother-in-law both had a pulse for the last 2 years of their lives, and they were a godsend. My mother-in-law would fall quite often. Even with somebody there, she'd be perfectly fine one minute, and the next minute she's up in the wall. The paramedics would come, and without having a pulse, they would just take her. But the nice thing about a pulse is it allows the patient to determine what's going to be done. We're going to discuss that in a second. One of the tools for determining if a patient was a candidate for a pulse is they would ask, would the doctor be surprised if this patient were to pass away in the next couple of years? If they weren't, they were a pretty good candidate for a pulse. Okay, so here are some of the differences. A pulse allows the patient to choose whether they want to be resuscitated or not. It also allows for other medical treatments. Quite often as paramedics, we'd get on scene, the patient was not in cardiac arrest status, but there were certain other medical treatments that we could do to make their life more comfortable. Patients with an abnormal heart rhythm would often be in pain, patients with chest pain. With a pulse, we could treat that, relieve their pain, get them to the hospital, let a doctor check them out, try and prevent it from happening again, and get them back home. Without a pulse or a DNR, quite often if the patient was unconscious, they would go against their will. And the family really didn't have any say-so, but now they do. And again, it's honored across all healthcare settings. Whereas with a DNR just says, do not resuscitate. The patient, this is only valid pre-hospital and if the patient's in cardiac arrest. If you can see that, it's kind of broken down into sections, and I'm just going to touch on the important sections. With a DNR, the entire form had to be filled out in order for it to be valid. That's not necessarily the case with a pulsed. Okay, with a pulsed, the important ones are Section A is attempt resuscitation or do not attempt resuscitation. Instead of calling it do not resuscitation, they call it A and D, allow a natural death. If it is do not resuscitate, if that is marked and if the patient has signed it, their name is neatly printed, and their medical provider has signed it, that's all that's needed for that form to be valid. Then your first responders can look at that. This is valid. Sorry for everything going on. Is there anything we could do to help you? But then they wouldn't force their services on the patient. Now, if the patient is not in cardiac arrest, if they do have a pulse and they are breathing, then we go to Section B. So this is broken down. Does the patient want full treatment? If the patient opts for full treatment, we would take them to the emergency room. They would use all of the resources at the hospital to keep that patient alive. The full treatment also has a block for a trial period, which means they could try whatever they could for 90 days, 30 days, 60 days. This would be determined by the doctor and either the patient's decision makers or maybe even the patient still. And then we have selective treatment. This is where the patient can really get involved. For instance, when my mother had kidney failure, and she opted to not get dialysis. And she lived for 2 years with bad kidneys, but her selective treatment was no dialysis. But pretty much everything else, they can get IV antibiotics, IV fluids, they could opt to not be intubated. We've seen cardiac arrests where they want us to do chest compressions and no medications. They can actually help determine, like I said, their level of care. And last but not least, we have the focused comfort. Every patient should be offered some type of comfort. If the patient is conscious and breathing, if they're drowning in their own lungs, we can give them medications to open them up. They can give them Lasix, some diuretics to get that fluid out. They'd be more comfortable, and they might be able to go back home. So again, the pulse is there to make the patient's life easier before they pass away and during the final days. So the full treatment, again, uses all of the resources that the hospital has. It's invasive, it's intense, it's aggressive. Whereas if the patient wants CPR, that's actually the most aggressive. If you've ever seen somebody having CPR done, it's pretty violent. And it is something that a lot of very old, frail people, and I'd say old because I'm getting there myself, they couldn't survive it. So CPR is not always the best option for some patients, especially if there's no quality of life ahead of them. Selective treatment, again, they want comfort care only. Sometimes it's pain medications. Sometimes, like I said, it's get fluid out of their lungs. Sometimes they just need to up their oxygen. There's a lot of different things, and the paramedic will get there, do a differential diagnosis, do what they can, take them to the emergency room, and the emergency room will take it from there. If the patient is admitted for a very short period of time, if they agree to it, and then go home. But usually selective treatment is no ventilator, no intubation. They really discuss it with them whether or not they might want to go to the ICU or have surgery. If it is a treatable condition, if it's not going to cause them a lot of problems. If a patient has a hip injury, say a hip fracture, that's going to take 9 months to rehab, that patient might be better off with just comfort care. There's also a do not transfer option. We have a lot of skilled nursing facilities and intermediate nursing facilities, and the patients are there that have a pulse. A lot of times, if a patient falls, hits their head, has a little cut on their head, and the staff at the facility can handle this, they shouldn't be transferred out, and that's marked on the form, do not transfer if the facility can handle it. And these are all things that do not resuscitate orders. They did not have those. Comfort-focused treatment, again, everybody gets comfort care whether the box is marked or not. That's just a basic human right. We should treat each other as the best we can the time we have. Choices mostly for the residents at the end of their life. Changing conditions. If a patient has a pulse, they can be reevaluated. My mother-in-law, she was on hospice for almost a year. Then she came off of hospice. She just got better. The pulse kind of got pulled off the fridge and kind of put to the other side of the fridge. And I mean, she was a fighter, but that kept us comfortable knowing that we were going to follow her wishes. Another nice thing about a pulse, they do not expire. If a patient has a pulse filled down on them, it doesn't expire. It just keeps going until they need it. There's another block number C. It's artificial nutrition. All patients are going to be offered food by mouth if feasible and desired. And as you might know, that when we get older, sometimes we can't swallow anymore, and they have to go to parenteral feeding, IV feeding, or even non-solid food. but this helps them make that decision while they still can. Okay. Section D, this is the other section that must be filled out, but the parts of this that must be filled out is the physician's name or a PA or a nurse practitioner has to print their name on it, they have to sign it, and the same thing with the patient. Printed name and signed. Advanced healthcare directives. A lot of times if we get a will, they'll put advanced healthcare directives in our will. Advanced healthcare directives are usually very general. Choose to prolong your life, don't prolong your life. Do you have designated agents? Is your doctor going to be involved in this, or is it just going to be the family? These are all things that have to be worked out ahead of time. PULST is usually more specific with respect to cardiac arrests, putting an intubation tube in, feeding tubes, and hospitalizations. But again, advanced healthcare directives they are very important, and that can work hand in hand with the patient's PULST. As I mentioned earlier, the minimum criteria for the PULST, anything in Section A, which is that cardiac arrest, designated CPR or no CPR, signature of the patient or their surrogate, physician assistant, a doctor, and the date. In the past with the DNR, we couldn't have copies. It had to be an original copy printed in ink, had a date on it. They do not expire. They did expire where the PULST does not expire. And you can have copies if they're legible. Physicians can use any of the older versions of a PULST, whereas a nurse practitioner or a PA has to use a version that is 2016 or newer. Palliative care is specialized team-focused medical care for patients with serious illnesses, long-term illnesses. This doesn't really focus them on the pulse. This is something that is more long-term. And with that, do I have any questions about a pulse and what they are?
Good afternoon, Commissioner Angel here. First of all, thank you for this very comprehensive overview. Where might an individual get this particular form?
You can get your pulse from your physician. There is a website that you can go to and download it, but it's no good without your physician's signature. So it's something you'd want to discuss with your physician first, and they would have them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Koblenz, thank you very much. We appreciate the information. You said it does not expire. However, can it be changed?
Yes, they can be changed. When you change them, though, you don't want to change the pulse that you have. You don't want to put a line through things and sign it. You want to fill out an entire new pulse, which means it needs new signatures and new doctor signatures, physician signatures. Oh, hi.
Yes, I have a question. Is the pulse somehow tied to a phone number or to an address? So let's suppose that I'm home and I get help from a neighbor calling the paramedics because I am in a situation where I need to be helped.
Okay.
So how do the paramedics know, unless I have the pulse there on the refrigerator? Is it tied to my phone number, my name, my address?
It is present in the home. The pulse are big, bright pink sheets of paper, and they're printed on this for a reason. So when you walk in, if you go into the room, you're going to focus right on that pink piece of paper, and the medical providers are going to know what they are. We usually ask patients to put them in a very conspicuous area. My family members, we put them on the fridge. Quite often, they would make copies. I've seen people make 6 copies of them and have one on the door of every door in the house. But yeah, they have to be there.
This is Commissioner Hanwitt. I have a question for you, and thank you for that information. We've been having a discussion about the vial of life I actually got a Vial of Life little envelope from your organization maybe about 7 or 8 years ago when I was living in Carlsbad. And I now live in an over 55 community, and we have people that are not at the point, as you were describing in the beginning of your talk, where maybe a doctor would say, hey, you better get this filled out so that we know what your wishes are. But that doesn't mean that an emergency couldn't happen to any one of us.
You're correct.
At any moment. So I didn't know about the Pulse, and I did know about the Vial of Life. I still have it on my refrigerator. And we were considering looking for funding to try to get the Vial of Life to distribute through the senior center at places like over 55 communities for anybody. We had a situation where I'm living where somebody had a stroke and was able to call 911, but by the time the paramedics got there, she was not conscious, and nobody even knew who her relatives were. And they didn't know how to contact anybody, and so, that was why I thought of the Vial of Life. So is that something that's still valuable to people, or should everybody be trying to get a Pulse and get their doctor involved and get it signed?
No, I agree with you. The Vial of Life is absolutely, I think it should be mandatory. Everybody over a certain age, my age, because the Vial of Life has more than a do not resuscitate order in it. It has very important, it has the patient's history, their meds, their allergies, has their name, has their birthday, has their insurance, get them to the right hospital. So if they do have a positive outcome, they don't come home with, $20,000 in bill because they want their insurance to cover it. It also has their contact information in it. But the problem that I've seen with the Vial of Lives is we would distribute them and they wouldn't get filled out. So it's a nice thing when you distribute them, that you give them some strict instructions. Fill this out, a minimum of your name, your birthday, contact numbers, history, meds, and allergies. But we might,
I actually called your organization first because we got them for free when I lived in Carlsbad, and I thought, well, that'll be good. But the woman that I talked to said that you no longer had them. She suggested I contact I look on Amazon. They are on Amazon, and we have found them in different places. Like the county has them, but they have them in a plastic, like a baggie, and they stick a magnet on the back of it and has the card. But I think the little envelope, like I got from your organization, looks a little bit more official than hanging a baggie on your refrigerator. So we're looking for funding. I don't think it'll be that much of a problem, but that's interesting information from you because it adds a little validity into what we were going to do.
Eric can probably get you a sample of what we pass out. When I was still on an ambulance, I always had about 10 of them in the ambulance, and I would hand them out to people anytime I saw a need for it. And he can probably get you one, or get you some, or get this rolling for you, help you get an idea of where to get them from, and
Sure.
or we might even be able to just provide them.
Well,
This is Commissioner Angel. I'm wondering if we might just have them dropped off here with Christy
Yeah.
Goodsell, who is our point of contact here at the city.
Yeah, you could certainly this is Manager Staten, you could certainly drop them off here at City Hall or at the Community and Senior Center. Christie's actually main office is at the Community and Senior Center, but anything that's delivered here, we can obviously get to her.
Yeah, I have Christie's contact information. I can make that happen in the next couple of days.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Commissioner Farley, I have a question on, do you have a percentage of people that you respond to, the emergency responses? Do you have a percentage of the people, seniors, that actually have the Pulse? Is it something that's underutilized?
I believe they are underutilized. They're not utilized properly. We get quite a few family members who will tell us that he has the DNR and they mean a Pulse. And because we would ask them what it looks like, big sheet, pink piece of paper. Well, my sister keeps it because she's her, her power of attorney. So then we have to start getting on the phone. But while that is going on, till we can identify that this patient is a viable no CPR, somebody has to do CPR. So we just need to educate more people that have them. The doctors need to really push this on them that you need to keep this in a conspicuous place. It needs to be filled out. Same with the Vial of Life. But on the refrigerator, the magnetic plastic pack, not the baggie, but the really nice, clean pack stuck on the refrigerator is great.
Commissioner Farley again. I mean, it seems as though the pulse is more for like end of life. I mean, but I think there is still a use for it for people, elderly people, that they want a specific treatment.
Yes.
When emergency personnel come to help in an emergency. So.
Yes, but the pulse is something, again, the physician is not going to just fill one out for them because they ask for it. They do have to have some type of condition or illness or frailty that physician could in good faith feel that this patient, if they were to pass away within a couple of years, that would not be conspicuous.
Hi, this is Commissioner Ling over here. So I think and I've looked at both forms, both the Vial of Life and the Pulsed forms, and I think my impression is they are not mutually exclusive, right? It's
No.
perfectly reasonable to have both of those forms in a house. I was wondering if you could, just for the sake of give us a visualization of what you do as a first responder when you come into a home, and what are the things that you look for initially before you treat?
Well, we're always going to go to the patient. We're going to determine the patient's needs. If the patient's unconscious, unresponsive, we're going to check for a pulse, seeing if they're breathing. And unless somebody has already found a DNR or a pulse, at that time, we're going to start CPR. We may not do aggressive CPR, but we're still going to do chest compressions and breathe for them. At that time, usually the fire captain or one of the more senior paramedics is scouring through the house, looking for a pulse, looking for do not resuscitate orders, asking family members, is there a do not resuscitate? Because a lot of times the family will understand that, but they don't understand the pulse. So once we determine what we have, then if we have a pulse, we would just stop CPR. If the pulse is not signed, then we would continue doing basic CPR, or if the do not resuscitate order is in the Vial of Life is not signed, we'll do basic CPR. We'll get on the radio with a physician at an ER very quickly, discuss the situation, let them know what we have. By then, we have an EKG reading. We might have a blood sugar. We might have a pulse oximetry reading. We might have an end-tidal capnography reading. We can give all that data to the physician, and he will make the decision on whether or not to pronounce the patient. More often than not, if it's an older patient, he's going to agree with the paramedics on scene. If it is a younger patient, now that we have this big, nasty fentanyl problem going on, we do see a lot of cardiac arrests with them, but they never have a do not resuscitate. We will get significant others that will say, no, he has a do not resuscitate, but at 25 years old, we're not going to buy that. But I have had that happen before.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions? Thank you, Robert, for your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me spend some time with you guys. And any questions that you have that Eric can't handle, that he knows how to get a hold of me. Thank you.
Okay, we are at agenda item 5, oral communications, possible direction to staff. Do we have a speaker today?
We have one speaker, Deanna Manuzzi. You have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Okay. Good afternoon, commissioners, staff, members of the public. So my name is Diana Minuzzi. I am the Adult Services Librarian at Encinitas Library, currently the acting branch manager. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So Diana Minucci, Adult Services Librarian at Encinitas Library and acting branch manager until we hire the new librarian 3. So here I am to give a very brief update on library resources and programs and services. First of all, since October 10th, the ballot drop box is open. It's ready for election through November 8th. And on November 8th, the ballot drop-off will be open from 7 to 8 and then closed, locked at 8. Starting this week, we have a Dia de los Muertos event. On Thursday, we have the altar workshop, the first session, and then October 27th, we have the second session. We have the ofrenda setup, ballet folclórico, print and make workshop, the 2-dimension and 3-dimensional arts display. So that will be almost all day, October 27th. This coming Saturday, we have the San Diego Poetry Takeover. It's a large event, and there are 2 programs. One is the kids workshop 1 to 2. The other one is the annual reading in the community room 2 to 4. And as for resources, we have from the e-library about learning and career path. We have 2 websites, 2 databases. One is Help Now. The other one is Veterans Now. So Help Now offers one-on-one tutoring from kindergarten through through 12th grade and beyond. This is Adult Learning Center, allows test preparation material, live tutoring, and writing lab, and also career resources. And for Vet Now, this is for returning veterans and their families. It gives tools to transition into civilian world, and all information is confidential. And then we have the ongoing programming. We have SMART for self-management and recovery training. We have PATH for people assisting the homeless. We have a Southern California Resource Center table. We continue with Silver Age Yoga on Tuesdays, Wednesday noon concerts, and first Sunday concerts by Friends of the Library. So those are the latest news from the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Next item on our agenda, item 7, approval of the minutes. To approve the September 20th, 2022 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve minutes?
This is Commissioner Hanwett. I'll make a motion to approve the September 20th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Commissioner Hanwett moves to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Farley, I'll second.
Commissioner Farley seconds. And we go to a vote.
I'll just go ahead and take the vote manually. Chair Link,
Aye.
Vice Chair Angel,
Aye.
Commissioner Farley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hanwit, Commissioner Koblenz,
Aye.
and Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Let the record show the motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item 8, Senior Citizen Commission Annual Work Plan. Let's go over any new work plan goal outcomes since September 2022. Work plan item 1, attend city-sponsored and city-partnered local community events serving as city ambassadors. Any updates? Work plan item 2, identify guest speakers for monthly meetings to provide education regarding topics related to seniors and find platforms to get information out to the seniors in the community. Any updates?
Commissioner Farley, I have a request to have a speaker from the County of San Diego to speak on the monoclonal antibody regional centers, the MARC plan for that's available for seniors 65 and over for COVID treatment.
This is Manager Staton. We can certainly look into getting that speaker. I will pass that information along to Manager Goodsell.
Thank you. Work plan item 3, engage as organizers and volunteers with local community service organizations and the Community and Senior Center. Any updates? Oh, can you scroll down? Item 4, continue partnership with the Encinitas Rotary Club and explore other Encinitas Service Club organizations partnerships to recognize or promote the Senior Citizen of the Year and Lifetime Achievement Awards. Any updates? Moving right along. Work plan item 5, enhance senior programs, including intergenerational programming in collaboration with the Encinitas Youth Commission and other service organizations, computer assistance, Feeling Fit Club, and baby boomer offerings. Any updates? I can do the update for, so let's talk a little bit. We had an exchange with the ad hoc committee of the Youth Commission. They also have a work action item specifically for intergenerational activities in collaboration with the Senior Citizen Commission. And bounced around a couple of ideas. They had a terrific brainstorming session, I think, in their last meeting, and they've come up with a list of suggestions. And I suggest that the ad hoc group get together sometime in the next few days and review their suggestions. I also wanted to make sure that we vetted out with staff that these items are all acceptable.
This is Manager Staton. I have not seen any updates in addition to the ones that were originally sent along, but I will review anything further that comes across my desk.
Okay.
And the ones that I had seen previous that I had responded to are approved by staff to pursue, and we're actually in the meeting with those commissioners as well. So we did hear some of the ad hoc suggestions in that Youth Commission meeting.
Okay. Yeah, well, we received an email from Commissioner Sue just, I think, yesterday.
My apologies, I've been out of the office and I haven't gotten to all my
Okay.
emails yet. I was out one day.
That's what happens. The other thing that's going I think is probably worth mentioning is next Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30 at the Computer Lab in the Senior Center. The IT folks are going to be coming out to talk about cybersecurity for your computers. And that was actually something that I had requested because it was very successful the first time they did this. And not only questions about cybersecurity, protecting your devices, but also just asking, being able to ask and answer questions in general about the computers in the computer lab.
Chair Link, one more time, this is Manager Staton. Can you reiterate the time that you have for that?
I believe that was 9:30 to 10:30.
Okay, that's what I have as well. I just wanted to make sure I heard you correct. For any of the commissioners that haven't been to this, Warren the Wizard, one of our IT wizards here, comes and he's quite a joy and makes all of the IT stuff very interesting, fun, and there are no dumb questions. So I would encourage you or anyone you know to attend and show Warren some appreciation and ask all of the questions you have.
And I can vouch for that. He's pretty fun.
So we're talking about a week from this Thursday or?
The 20th.
The 20th. Oh, okay, good.
Oh, sorry, this coming Thursday, yes. Okay, work plan item 6, establish a relationship with the county by actively participating in Age Well San Diego 2.0 conversations, virtually and in person as it relates to senior wellness. Any updates?
This is Commissioner Farley. I'm going to look into this a little bit more, but I believe there is a summit December of this year. It's under a Live Well. So I'm going to look to see where Age Well is participating in that, and if there's an opportunity, I might attend, or look at see if there's any booths or anything for Age Well, and go down there and just see what's available.
Thank you. Work plan item 7, work collaboratively with city staff and senior citizen commission ad hoc committees to determine programs requiring grant funding. Any updates?
This is Commissioner Hanwitt. I can give an update for the ad hoc committee. We met a few weeks ago to talk about the Vial of Life and ways to get funding and research that we would need to do in order to be able to complete a proposal. So we're waiting for Christy to get back and check on the funding sources, and then we'll go forward.
Thank you. Work plan item 8, visit senior centers in San Diego County for knowledge and to make recommendations to staff on programs such as lunch program enhancements and services that would be of value to Encinitas seniors. Any updates?
Commissioner Koblenz, still in research, continue to define and redefine opportunities to enhance the programs and specifically to encourage more people. I think we're doing very, very well. I'm very, very pleased with what has happened over at the lunch program and all the staff and all the volunteers. So I think it's a continuous work and should have something more definite to report next month.
Thank you. Work plan item 9, research best practices as it relates to senior issues and send letters of support as needed to city council and commissions. Any updates? Okay, I think that wraps it up for the work plan. Agenda item 9, informational items. I see Supervisor Calkins is here for an operations report.
Yep, this is Supervisor Calkins. Just going to give some statistics for September. For the senior nutrition program, we had 378 meals provided for the month, as well as 109 rides. That's one-way rides within town for seniors to the nutrition program. As well as we had 800 non-nutrition program participants in the month of September. Special nutrition events held this month here in October. We have our monthly birthday ice cream sundae social. That was October 7th. October 12th, we had a presentation on osteoporosis prevention by Feeding San Diego. They came out into the nutrition program and gave a great presentation. Today, we had our monthly bingo session. We had 18 participants there today. And then October 31st, Monday, we have our Halloween theme party for nutrition. So if anyone is around, please come by in a costume. I encourage everyone to dress up and attend for that. It'll be a fun time. And then some upcoming themed nutrition days for November. We have, again, the birthday Sundays. It's always on the first Friday of the month, so November 4th. The third Tuesday is November 15th is our bingo, which is always the same day as commission meeting. It is early in the day, so you could make both if you wanted to. On November 18th, we have our next health presentation, which will be, the topic is nutrition and eye health. So that'll be an interesting one to hear some more information about. And then November 23rd will be our theme party for the month, and the theme is giving thanks. So it'll be right before our Thanksgiving holiday break for the program. And then some upcoming city special events outside of the nutrition program. We have the Dia de los Muertos event at the community center which will be Saturday, October 29th. That's a free event open to the community from 12 to 4 p.m. We'll have ballet folkloria, different mariachi bands, different arts and crafts vendors, a food vendor, all at the community center on that day. So come out for a good time there. This coming Friday, we have our next senior social dance, and then the one in November will be November 18th. So that's always the third Friday of the month from 2 to 4 p.m. We have live music, some refreshments, and even some opportunity raffle prizes. Our New Year's Eve dance, tickets will go on sale for that. That is a big event that we do every year. It's been on hiatus the last few years with COVID, but we're bringing that back this year. So that's going to be obviously Saturday, the 31st of December. But tickets will go on sale this coming Friday, October 21st. Tickets will be $15, and that includes a full catered meal, live music, and a celebratory toast to 2023. Art Night, Encinitas is the next cultural arts event coming up, is November 19th. It's a Saturday from 5:30 to 8:30. So that's art exhibits at the community center, the library, City Hall, and as well as art galleries around town. And there is a free shuttle that will take you around to those different spots as well. And then the last upcoming event that I'm going to talk about is our holiday parade, annual holiday parade, which will be on Saturday, December 3rd from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then I'm going to let you go.
Manager Staten?
Thank you. Before I forget, I have a lot of other updates as well and some additions, but one of them that I don't want to forget about before I make a very special introduction is that our New Year's Eve dance in the past has sold out and sold out pretty quickly. So I would encourage any of you that are interested in attending to buy your tickets early and get your friends and other people engaged in that event. It's pretty amazing. So we're excited to bring it back. But before I go into any of my other city updates, I wanted to introduce our new senior management analyst in our department in Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts. We're thrilled that he's on board. We've been without a senior management analyst for a little bit. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome the man at the very end of the desk area over here. This is David Listenby. He comes to us from the San Jose area, and I'm going to pass the mic to him to introduce himself a little bit further.
Hi, good afternoon. Pleasure to speak with you today. Yes, David Listenby, new Senior Management Analyst in the Administrative Services Division. Born and raised in San Jose, I'm brand new to the San Diego County, Encinitas. I currently reside with my wife and 2 dogs in the Scripps Ranch neighborhood. And yes, I come from San Jose, had worked with the city of San Jose actually for close to 8 years in various capacities. So I have a background in budget and HR and some other capacities. So I'm really honored to be selected for this position and excited to get to work. So nice to meet you.
Again, we are delighted that he is here. So in addition to the updates that Clinton gave, I have quite a few updates myself. So this past Saturday, we had Movie in the Park in Cottonwood Creek. We were showing The Bad Guys, but unfortunately, we had some bad weather. So about 30 to 45 minutes into the movie, we were forced to cancel that due to rain and a cell that was moving in. So we had to cut the movie a little bit short. We're not used to rain here in Southern California, but we had a rainy day. So unfortunately that happened. For Dia de los Muertos, I know on the plan, on your work plan, you do have volunteer and attending city events as one of your items. And there is a need for volunteers at Dia de los Muertos. We have 2 opportunities. One of them would be on 10/27, there's actually a Dia de los Muertos event at the library, and that's from 3 to 6 p.m. And we'll have ballet folklorico and printmaking going on there. And our arts administrator, Colette, has the arts survey going on right now, and I believe that was explained at another commission meeting. If not, I can give you more details after this meeting, and Colette can provide you with that. But essentially, you're speaking to members of the public about how many people are in their party, if they've spent any money here based on attending this event. So it just sees the economic impact of arts in our area. And they aren't asked to give any personal information, just basic answers to questions. And there's a lot of different municipalities that are participating in this, and we're one of them. So that you would be able to attend the event and then just interact with the public, as I'm sure that you all love to do. So again, that's on 10/27 from 3 to 6 p.m. at the library. Then we have the big Dia de los Muertos main event at the community center. And you could do as little or as much there as you wanted for surveying, or if you wanted to man a barricade. We need adults to man barricades. And Ballet Folklorico, we have a lot of youth that participate and volunteer and help make that event happen, but we can't put them at barricades that have to do with traffic. So if you are interested, whether it be for an hour or a half hour or whatever that looks like, we would need a little bit of advance notice. So you can see me after the meeting, or you can email myself or Christy, or you can raise your hand and jump right in now if you're interested in volunteering in any of those capacities. Okay. We also, as mentioned, have the holiday parade coming up. The theme is Classic Encinitas. You've probably been told that previously, but we do need an application filled out by the commission if you would like to participate. As commission, that fee would be waived, but we need to officially have you as an applicant so that we know to save a place for you in the parade. It's also my understanding that there were 2 cars that were secured for the event. Is that still correct? Yes, no? According to my notes, it says that we had, oh my goodness, a 1950s truck and something else, but I'm not seeing it. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Commissioner Farley, I think the commissioner that's not here today, Commissioner Green, she said she had a convertible.
Okay,
So
maybe that was
that's-
it. There was a convertible, and oh, here it is. Green offered a red beatable convertible, and Martin offered a 1950 Ford truck.
I can offer that,
Oh.
but I didn't get any feedback that that was something desired.
I think that, to my understanding, would be very much desired, but your commission can answer that.
Okay.
That would be great. Thank you.
And if we could have an official count of how many commissioners currently are planning to attend, that would be great. So, Ling, Angel, okay.
This is Commissioner Angel. Would you just once again please remind us of the date for this holiday?
Sure,
parade?
it's Sunday, December 3rd.
Thank you.
Mhm. I'm so sorry. Saturday, December 3rd.
And what was the date for the Dios de los Muertos?
Dia de los Muertos is the 27th, is the event at the library from 3 to 6. And the main event is at the community center on 10/29 from 12 to 4, but we also need barricade helpers from 8 to 12. But the event itself is 12 to 4.
This is Commissioner Angel. One additional question for the parade regarding the form that is required. Can you help me better understand, is that something the commission itself submits or each of the commissioners themselves submit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. It would be the commission as a whole would submit it. On that application, it basically says what vehicle, that we're the senior commission, and everybody that's involved in the parade fills out this application. So it's really just a holding spot for you, so that we know to save a space in the parade. There's no fee involved for the commission. There are fees for other entrants, but it would just be one application for the commission.
This is Martin. You said one application, but then you said every commissioner would fill out a form.
I'm sorry, I meant every participant would fill out a form as far as like every entrant. So like whether you're the Girl Scouts or you're the ECI YMCA or any other YMCA, each conglomerate fills out their own, but not every commissioner. One application for the commission. Sorry about that.
And you can direct, this is Commissioner Martin,
Yep.
you can direct us to that form.
Yeah, we can certainly get you the application. No problem.
Okay, this is Commissioner Ling. Should we just coordinate that with Manager Goodsell when she's back?
Yes, when Manager Goodsell returns, you can certainly, but please put your thinking caps on to ensure that that gets done, and maybe someone wants to spearhead that effort on behalf of the commission.
Okay. This is Commissioner Lincoln. I can drive that.
Thank you so much. And then we are currently working on the winter brochure for all the fun activities that we'll be having in winter. We pulled our first draft, and there's many iterations that go into that. So we're on draft 1, but registration will go live for all of our winter programming on Monday, December 5th. And we're looking forward to many of the offerings, some new, some returning favorites. So we're very thrilled to continue to offer all of those programs to the community. And last but not least, we have one of our supervisors, Elle, and she will be attending a under 40 conference in Omaha that is helping the future of what municipalities will look like, and she was selected nationwide out of a group of applicants. So we're very proud that she'll be attending and representing Encinitas. They have to write a large paper, and so she's currently learning a lot about municipal government and reporting back to her different committees, and she is thrilled to be representing Encinitas, and we're so honored to have her have been selected on this nationwide scale to learn and then also, bring the knowledge from Encinitas on a larger scale. And I believe those are all of the updates.
Thank you. Could I see a show of hands again for the commissioners who wanted to attend the holiday parade? Okay.
This is Commissioner Martin. I just want to say on that event, we have 2 vintage cars. They're both enclosed, so there's the truck that has an enclosed but open bed, and then there's a 54 Oldsmobile, which has giant windows and but either one, since my husband is the driver.
This is Manager Staten. One other thing to keep in mind is that for the award winners of the awards that were given by the commission, we also will need space for them. So it may be that if the other commissioner cannot bring the convertible, maybe we could consider using your two vehicles, and you can discuss them, but we will need somewhere for the award winners and any special guests that they'd like to bring.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to agenda item 10. Commissioner member initiated agenda items. Are there any agenda items? No? And future agenda items added by commissioner members. And we had slated item 11A, senior citizen commissioners' role in welcoming and onboarding peer-to-peer new commissioners, but we'd like to table that till next meeting. Okay, that brings us to agenda item 12, commission reports, roundtable for all commissioners. Feel free to chime in.
Commissioner Martin, I don't know if this is the place, I'm still learning the role, but we talked about different things that we're representing in the way of speakers for this session, but also what's available at the senior center. One of the items that's never really talked about directly and could or should, the COVID vaccines, particularly the newest one, they're finding that the seniors mostly, at least for all the national studies, seniors mostly don't realize there even is a new one. So I just wondered, is that something that we do or discuss or perhaps even have available over a lunch or such where we provide information about things, or is it just not spoken about?
Manager Staten, is there anything at the city level for promoting the new bivalent vaccines?
This is Manager Staten. To my knowledge, we don't have any city-directed information that is out about the vaccine. Generally, those things are sort of left to the public health professionals. But we could look into having a speaker here or other options.
I think that would be great. The other thing, and I think we've done this in the past, but probably not recently, is having on-site vaccinations. I don't know if that's still something we do.
That is something that's handled directly through our fire department, and any vaccination efforts would be housed there. And again, that's something I can check on with them. To my understanding, we won't be having any additional because they're not public-wide generally. They're really being directed more towards just seniors. So I don't think that there's any initiative currently by our fire department.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Martin again. Since I've already put my mouth out there on vaccines, the other one that's become quite critical this year is the flu. And we've already seen 3,000 people, I guess, in one school district of San Diego recently on national news. So that's something I think, as a nurse, I feel like we need to get some word out there that there is flu vaccines somewhere or where they are available to seniors.
Again, generally, that's something that we have as initiative that the public health does. As a city, we don't generally give out that type of information, to my understanding, but it is something that we could look at, and I can look at past practices of the city. Since my tenure here, that's not something that we've taken a hold of. If you would, as a commission, like to look for best practices that maybe other cities do to initiate those sort of things for seniors, that would be certainly welcomed, as the commission is always welcome to bring best practices forth.
Good talk. I will.
Commissioner Farley, so I think that we've discussed this in the past, that I think the problem is that we have really great speakers that come here, and there's some great information that we get, and we're trying to figure out how to get this out to the senior citizens of Encinitas. And what is the best way for us to do that? Do you have option to do like informational seminars through the senior center? Or I guess I know like the library, we can try to work in concert with the library to offer these different informational seminars. Do you have suggestions? We can best get this out to the seniors.
Sure. So first and foremost, I would make sure that anything that you're looking to do would be tied back to a work plan item, and that we don't deviate from the work plan, because you already do have quite a few things. So if you can find where that fits in your work plan, then let's go from there. The second thing is that the best thing that you can do is find best practices, and then you can bring that back to the city so that we can understand if we have the resources and or if the commission can move forward in assisting with that outreach themselves.
This is Commissioner Ling. So one of the things we have done in the recent past is when we've had guest speakers presenting information that we think is helpful, of benefit to seniors, we've also suggested to staff that they, for example, bring these presenters to senior lunch. And then just spend 10 minutes before the food comes out, or maybe just after the food comes out, to talk to them about some of these things. And I see Supervisor Calkins nodding, because he's been behind that too. So that's one possible path. In terms of getting a broader audience, I think that's kind of a challenge for this commission to do. It's not really within our power or our charter to do that. Any other comments about?
Commissioner Farley.
Koblenz,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, if I may ask, so today was a perfect example of where we could have had a larger audience